This county is a majority black county. The city is a majority black city. And at the time, it was still run by a few white people. When I left, black mayor had taken over, and there were more black people involved in the business side of that small town. But what I know is that once Mookie opened that door and said, nah, they one of us, I knew I was. And so this movement doesn't surprise me as much as it surprises other black people, just because where I come from, where my family from, who was my family in that town as a carpetbagger who came from California, who was not accepted by the white people because I was not from there. The black community accepted me. All my tattoos are done by a black artist. And I don't know what my point of this is. Just that I wanted to talk about it. It's hard to talk about in white circles because they look at me like I'm crazy. And they're like, what were you doing? I'm just saying.
Hey, Cracker. Listen, I know nuance is dead with you type of whiteys, but are you aware that all crime is racial? And that people commit crimes against their own race more than anybody else? The number one human unaliver of white people is white people. But please explain to me how, as white people, with all of the social and political and financial and historical advantages that you wrongfully have, still manage to do this to each other. You are not marginalized, you are not over-policed, you are not marginalized in any way, born with privileges that you did not earn simply because you were white. And yet, despite that, 6 times a day, a cracker unalives a cracker. But you are going to focus on the most beat down and opportunity robbed people in the history of the United States. Expose yourself, dude.
If credit card bills have taken over your life, it's...
people I've ever met. This year, there was this whole thing that popped off on a corner of TikTok where a group of black folks decided that gingers, redheads, were an honorary member of the black community. It sparked this beautiful exchange of the deepest empathy I've ever heard expressed ever for the redhead experience that most people don't really think about or care about. Redheads tend to get really bullied for no reason by other white people. It's some kind of branch off of this racist, colorist, I'm going to judge you and treat you differently based on your aesthetic and not based on your personality or your merit. It's part of this just like desire for violence sake and having a hierarchy, and you're lower on the totem pole just cause. And maybe secretly it's because people are like, that's kind of cool, but I don't have that and I'm jealous, so let me just make it a bad thing. Just like how many people who are pretty racist also consume sports and music and all sorts of things that are created by black folks. They secretly love and admire it while also feeling threatened by it because they know they can't be it. But my experience interfacing in the black community is truly this concept of do unto others as you would want done unto you. Love your neighbor as yourself. The love I expect, it gets deeper. The well of empathy and connection is profound. It's, again, deeper than anything I've ever experienced in any other community. And I think most white folks miss out on this because of all of this division and hate. We are taught from a young age to be divided, to mistrust each other. And white folks are indoctrinated to hate and fear black folks so that we can justify their treatment. It's easier to treat someone poorly if they're the enemy or if you feel like you're somehow victimized by them. I've never truly been victimized by black folks. Yes, there have been isolated moments of violence and crime and whatever, and the media runs with that as propaganda to keep pushing this race war. And I find it interesting that people like CK clearly had deep disdain for black people and empathy. To me, those things go hand in hand. And even though that whole situation was a white-on-white crime, even a conservative-on-conservative crime, they've managed to blame it on black folks who had nothing to do with it. And now there are these lynchings of black men. They're blamed for things they are not involved in at all. And this has been the story of America Every toxic family needs a scapegoat, that black sheep, oftentimes that spiritually awake person that sees what's not right and what's not just and points it out, or is doing all this emotional labor and physical labor trying to keep the peace and make things work. It's exhausting. And at a certain point, they know they gotta just give.
What's good, man? I just found this piece, and it was heavy, you know, to listen to Caucasian women, Caucasian is white. That's the description. To actually talk about, um, they don't see race; they see people as people, and how comfortable around the black culture that they are, you know, comfortable around, you know, that they are around. The lady said she opened a coffee shop and she was ridiculed by her own culture, you know, about why it's a lot of black individuals, I guess, in this coffee shop, and as well as, you know, white folks. And then they coming to her as the owner, who own this shop. What kind of shop is it? Is it a black shop or white shop? Because they want to know, if it's a white shop, why all these black folks in here? And if it's a black shop, then we not coming in here no more, you know? So it's real out here, like I said in the title, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, I just feel like we come a long way, but we got a long way to go. And, you know, we survived a lot. We got through a lot, and the fight never stopped because, you know, somebody want to be a block, you know, like somebody want to be blocking. That's what I want to say, not block, but blocking the interests of the door that we trying to go in to do better and be better. You know, they say all black men is good for is making babies that they don't take care of. You know, they have multiple women that they don't be responsible for. And, you know, that's not true. You know, my son, older brother, graduated from A&T. And, you know, and his older brother is my son too, because I raised him, you know, and, you know, and good kid. Shout out to you, CB, you know who you are. And, you know, it was 2,200 black kids that graduated. I never went to a HBCU graduation until I attended his graduation in North Carolina. And it was beautiful to see them kids walk that stage. And this is happening all over the world at all the HBCUs. You know what I'm saying? So I would say for every bad apple, it's 20 good apples that's in the barrel. They all not bad, only a few. And if you're someone that move around, you will see that. If you just limited in your surroundings and in your travel, then you're not going to see nothing different, and you're going to believe the narrative that they spin in the media itself. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you know, Next time you know somebody graduating, especially at a HBCU, go to that school and count the kids that go up there and get their degrees. You get what I'm saying? So, you know, everybody not out here being a problem, you know. And I think we doing a good job of getting our kids through school. And now once they get out, we gotta guide them into being independent and uh being able to survive out here, because I just feel like in this day and time, it used to be a time where your degree was so, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Big Shit. You know, you could walk with your chest out because I got a college degree as a black person of a culture, you know, like, you know, because I'm smart, not because somebody let me in the door. Yeah, you know, the door did open, but once I got in, I did the work. So I salute them folks that went and got these degrees, and now we're in a world and the control and the power is basically saying, you know, so what to your degree? If you ain't rich, you ain't nothing because you ain't controlling nothing. So what you smart? So what you know different things? Is you controlling anything? That's what we done came to. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, this atmosphere is making it feel like what's the point of going to school? But that's the trick. You know, the power change every 4 years or every 8 years. And what we going through, it ain't gonna be forever. You know what I'm saying? And it'll get back to education is law, education is king. So don't fall for the trip, the what they say, the banana in the tailpipe that make you feel like, okay, you know, why go to school? You know, but I will say this: we need to play both sides of the fence. Get your degree, and you go get some skills in a trade, and you can play both sides of the fence. You know, if they tripping over here, I can go over here and still earn money and live a lifestyle and take care of my bills, take care of my family. You know, I'm like this. You know, don't just depend on your degree. You know, get your trade, and I'm a vocational dude myself, you know, and I was told by my trade professors, my vocational professors, have you 2 to 3 to 4 trades under your belt and you'll never be hungry and you will never be homeless because, you know, you got something to tap into, multiple skill sets. And in this day and time, that really resonates. It's like, you know, and when I talk to people and, you know, they running down their resume and everything is about school and I did this, I'm part of it. Woo, woo, woo. I'm like, okay, now let me throw you a curveball. If you lose your certification, what else can you do? That's not what you skilled in or your specialty. What else can you do? And a lot of people be on stuck because you focus so much on your specialty over the years. You know you ain't had time or you didn't feel like you needed to do anything else. You see what I'm saying? So it's like you like a deer in headlights, and maybe you didn't have to, you know, lateral over to anything, you know, because your specialty been your specialty. Now, I think a big flex is whatever your specialty is, you can work multiple places with it. You know, like anything in the medical field, you can go anywhere in the world and get a job. You know what I'm saying? And you know, so we need to find these jobs that don't necessarily need a degree, but you need to get certified. And if you have the time and you're fortunate enough to go get somebody documentation, you know, which is a degree, you know, I call it documentation, you know, document, you know, kudos to you. But everybody couldn't go that route. Not that they didn't have the discipline or the desire or they couldn't. It's just life wasn't, you know, set up for you to do that because of responsibility or priority. Like myself, I had to leave college on the strength that when my grandmother died, who was my mother backbone, I had to step up in that position. And my grandmother was also helping me financially. You know what I'm saying? And I'm one of them kids or individuals back then, you know, I couldn't work and go to school. So, or full time. I couldn't work full time. So when she died, when God called her home, you know, I had to leave school. I had to get full time to get some money to help my mother and my siblings out. So, you know, so I tell these kids that have the opportunity to, you know, not pay bills, to live at home and make the most out of that and respect that you have that kind of backing or that help because everybody don't have that. You get what I'm saying? Everybody don't have that set up. So don't take it for granted, like, you know, or everybody doing this because everybody not. And the fact that if you had this set up and backing and you drop the ball and still be, you know, doing average jobs or, you know, it's like shame on you. But, you know, and so I make it my business to talk to these kids that I know that's privileged to the point that I know their people got them and holding them down and they just like laxy daisy and not motivated by what we say to them like, look, you need to be serious about your future because you got the support. You know, I would give anything to have the support you have. So don't drop the ball or stop being so lax about it. A lot of kids do this. And I'm like, you know, I just got to a point, I'm going to stop stressing about what somebody else going to do. Because you're going to learn today or you're going to learn later on what this world is about. Nobody for real care about you. You got to care about yourself to want to be on your game and hold your own. And that's the bottom line. Ain't nobody coming to save you. You got to save yourself. Because if you under somebody like your parents, they not going to live forever. So what are you going to do? You got to get independent. You held to an expectation to hold your own and stand on your own. It's nobody's job to take care of you at the end of the day. And I say that going into spouses, you know what I'm saying? You know, you get a spouse, you know, nobody get a pass to just sit on their butt and chill. Everybody got to put in work because that's how this thing going to go. Look at it like if you get money as a dude and you pick someone that okay, you getting money, you a dude that got money or getting money, you ain't rich, but you know, I'm talking about a regular dude like myself. Say like if I'm making six figures and I get someone that don't work. Now, if I get sick, how is she gonna carry the fault if she not bringing in no kind of money, and vice versa? If a young lady is getting money, say like she making six figures, and you pick a dude that don't work or doing next to nothing, how is that person that's doing the minimum gonna keep the fort, hold the fort down? You can't. What they gonna do? They gonna bail. So everything you worked hard for is gonna be disregarded. Cause guess what? That person that ain't doing nothing and doing the minimum, guess what they gonna do? They gonna find a plate to go eat on off, and that's real spill. You know what I'm saying? So when you choosing your partner, have an expectation. Whatever you bring into the table yourself, it need to be reciprocated. And let's start with the basics. We ain't talking about a dollar amount. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're over 40, then that's when, you should be making a certain amount of money and being able to play with a certain amount of money. And then, you know, y'all need to meet at a mediation. It's just what it is. When you come together to build. You don't come together just, he cute or she cute. And nah, man, nah. But you know what? Young people think like that. So you'll get a pass when you mess up. But you don't keep getting a pass. You get what I'm saying? Because at some point, you got to understand what this is about. Whatever kind of work that you putting in and benefits that you command, and you meet somebody, you want to make sure that person can reciprocate that. Nobody get a free ride at all for no reason. You don't let no man, as a woman, you don't let no man sit on his butt and do nothing. And as a man, you don't let no woman